Hey, what is going on, everyone? This is Greg, your co-host for the Grilling the Getaway podcast. We're doing something different this week. We lost Ben. Ben decided to go on vacation without me, so I'm flying solo this week. And instead of going back into our ribs discussion, we're going to postpone that one for a week. And I'm just going to field some questions that we got on our Facebook and Instagram pages. So thank you to those who submitted some questions. If you wanted to go out and follow us on our pages, Burn Pit BBQ on Facebook and Burn Pit BBQ guys on Instagram. You know, if you guys like this episode of this Q&A, you know, we might do more of them. So go out and follow us. And if we put out the ask for what kind of questions you have, feel free to ask us questions, and maybe you'll hear your question on the podcast later on down the road. But I hope you enjoy this episode. It's a quick hit, so we answer some questions, and then Ben will be back for our next week's episode. We'll record that, and then I think we're probably going to record two sessions. We'll talk about part 2 of the ribs, what we do when we get them on the smoker, and then we're going to talk a little bit about corn to beef because we're coming up on St. Patty's Day. So we'll probably do a 2-parter next time. So. But this time some questions and then some of my answers. So hopefully you enjoy them. But yeah, we appreciate you all. If you're enjoying the podcast, please go ahead, like and subscribe and share it with your friends. Help us grow this podcast, and then just our mission overall of helping people cook delicious meals. But yeah, here you go. Here's some Greg answers for Grilling to Getaway.
Oftentimes, life is demanding, stressful, and just won't stop. When needing to take a break, we like to light up the charcoal and crack open a cold one. The Grilling to Getaway podcast is an ongoing conversation about all things barbecue and grilling, from our backyard to yours. So if you sometimes don't know what the heck you're doing, if you like to learn, and if you don't take yourself too seriously, you're in the right spot.
Hey, what is going on, everyone? This is Greg, your co-host for the Grilling to Getaway podcast, and we're doing this a little different this time. We got some questions that popped up, and the reason we're doing this is my co-host, my buddy Ben, he is taking a much-needed vacation, so him and his family and some friends went down to Florida, and he left me here in Wisconsin to hold things together. So we're going to knock this one out today. You're just going to have me. I'm going to be answering some questions that we got from our followers on Instagram and Facebook. So if you submitted a question, you might hear it here. And if you wanted to follow us, you can find us at Burn Pit BBQ on Facebook, and then Burn Pit BBQ Guys on Instagram. And maybe if this does well, maybe we will make this kind of segment an ongoing part of the podcast. But since I'm flying solo today, I figured that I would just see what kind of questions you all had. So I'll be answering some of those today. The question of what am I drinking today? I'm a little upset. I actually had to buy my own beer because Ben usually buys it for me. He takes good care of me, but I had to buy my own this time, and as I was looking around the beer aisle, something caught my eye here. One, because it was cheaper than most of the other ones, but also it has a nice red label. It's called Keep Her Movin' Light Lager. It's a collaboration between Charlie Berens, who is a Wisconsin kind of comic who likes to make fun of us Midwesterners, and then Ale Asylum from Madison, Wisconsin. So Keep Her Movin' Light Lager. And I actually cracked this one open before I started this, so I'm going to taste it right now, though. Ooh, yeah, it's a nice light Wisconsin beer. I like that. So Keep Her Movin' by Ale Asylum out of Madison, Wisconsin. Go check them out. And then before we get into the questions, I just wanted to give a brief shout out to the Wisconsin National Guard, specifically Delta Company up there in River Falls, Wisconsin. I had the opportunity to go up there with a few other veterans and a few other military and veteran supporters to actually cook a meal for them as they were doing their weekend drill. So this unit of the Wisconsin National Guard was actually activated during the Kyle Rittenhouse trial in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is actually not too far from where Ben and I live. And they were mainly there to help provide security, make sure nothing happened like the riots that happened this summer before. And most of them, a lot of these guys are hunters, and that was actually during opening weekend of deer hunt season, the gun hunt season here. And then a lot of them also missed Thanksgiving with their families because they were activated to be in Kenosha. So along with Hunter Nation and Concerned Veterans for America, the Foundation, Rocket Ventures, the Veterans Business Outreach Center of Wisconsin, we collaborated with Burn Pit BBQ to get up there and cook up some venison burgers that were donated by Hunter Nation for these guys, just to give them a little bit of thank you. Say, hey, thank you for your service and also continuing to serve our communities, especially when something like that happens. So it was awesome time to get up there and talk with those guys. As a veteran, having served overseas and having to talk with those guys, it brought me back. It brought me back to like when I was in, and it was just awesome. Real great guys. And I know that our country is in good hands with the men and women that continue to serve. So it's just an honor and a privilege to be up there to serve them. So again, just wanted to shout out to Hunter Nation, Concerned Veterans for America Foundation, Veterans Business Outreach Center of Wisconsin, Rocket Ventures. So you guys that helped out, really appreciate it. But we'll jump in here now to get some questions. The first question that we got was from Instagram, and it was for a couple of different people. We like to go out there and we like to show what we're cooking. And one of the recent cooks that we had was some brats and some hot dogs, and that's a traditional Wisconsin fare. And we sometimes like to put our brats in beer. And the question that we got was, does it really make a difference, or does it leach out the flavor when you boil your brats? So that's a great question, and one that's kind of out there. It's a hot topic too, if you're in the brat community. And what we like to do here, we don't like to overboil them at all. We like to get it to a little bit of a simmer. So we'll put our brats in there. Obviously we're watching them pretty good, because if you do leave them in too long, you're going to end up leaching out some of that flavor. But really, what we're trying to do is enhance the flavor a little bit. So we'll put them in a little bit of beer beforehand. Hopefully they absorb some of that beer flavor, and we'll probably throw some, maybe some herbs, some spices in there too, and then some onions as well. But yeah, the goal is to add some flavor. The goal is not to leave it on so long that you're boiling the brats for too long, where you're actually stealing the flavor from the brats. So that's how we like to do it. We like to leave them on there for a little bit, simmer for a little bit, take them off, and then really char them up over the fire, so we feel you get a nice crisp brats, but with some of that beer flavor. And then obviously, if you wanted to keep them warm, you can continue to put them back into that beer in that tinfoil pan with the beer in it to keep them heated. But just want to make sure that you don't boil them too long. Otherwise, you are going to lose some of that flavor, and they're going to be pretty bland once you start eating them. So that's a great question. Obviously we do it without beer as well sometimes, a lot of times, but sometimes we just feel a little bit froggy, and we like to throw them in there and boil them up in some good Wisconsin beer sometimes. But overall, it usually adds to the flavor as long as you're not boiling them too much. All right, great question. Thanks for that. So if I'm going back now, I'm going to my Facebook page here and looking at some of the questions here. So let's see here. So Cheryl asks, can you BBQ and grill a turkey? Yeah, you can. Obviously, we actually prefer that. We put a blog out there not too long ago over Thanksgiving where we actually smoked a nice big, I think it was a 15-pound turkey. And if you go out to our website, burnpitbbq.com, you can actually see the recipe I put out there. The big things with turkey when you're doing like a barbecue or grill, even in the oven, is making sure that you get a nice moist bird. So you don't want to go too hot too fast. It's a nice slow heat. And then when you are doing a turkey, usually a lot of people like to do a little bit of a brine, so it helps keep the bird moist as you're cooking it. Because at least I've found that when you are uh, cooking a turkey, they tend to dry really fast. So you have to be very cautious, and preparation is one of those ways where you can make sure that you have a good tasting moist bird. And we like to do a little bit, put it in a brine for about 12 hours, or even a day before. And then as we pull it out, you can even inject a little bit. But then also you can get underneath that skin and put a little bit of butter on there to help make sure it stays nice and moist as you're cooking it. Gives it a little extra flavor too. And then when you're cooking and smoking, the big thing too is to make sure that the outside the skin doesn't get too smoky or brown or burnt. So tinfoil is your best friend there, making sure that you're keeping it nice golden brown. And then also you're just cooking the temp, right? So you're making sure you have a good either wireless thermometer or a good instant read thermometer, so you get the turkey to where you want it to be. But yes, absolutely, you can barbecue, you can grill, you can deep fry. So many ways to do a turkey. It all just kind of depends on how much time you have and the kind of method that you want to go for. So, Cheryl, I hope that answers your question for you. But if you haven't, I definitely recommend smoking a turkey for your next either Thanksgiving or the next time you got a turkey. All right. Next question here from Jose. What are your thoughts on beef tallow use on brisket? Is it needed or is it just a new fad? That's a great question. So for you all, if you don't know what beef tallow is, imagine lard that you get from a pig, and now substitute a pig with a cow. So essentially you are taking beef or meat from a cow and you're rendering it down. So the fat from that cow or that piece of meat, might be left over, and then you're essentially letting it get back up to room temperature so it becomes a solid. So it's like a nice piece of lard that you would get from a pig, but this is coming from a cow. Now there's a number of different ways that you can use this. Some people use it as oil. So if you're using it to, grease up your cast iron, or you're using it just as a regular substitute to, spraying oil or vegetable oil, you can do that certainly. Some people use it for like a binder, and I think this is what Jose is talking about here. So you can actually spread that over your brisket as a binder, and then you can put your rub on, your salt and your pepper. We've been seeing quite a bit more of it recently. I would say just because it seems to be popular now. I'm not quite sure why. It's usually kind of not as popular as lard, obviously, because lard usually has a little bit more taste to it, a little bit more saltiness to it, I'd say. But with tallow, beef tallow, it's doesn't have much of a taste to it. It doesn't have much, flavor to it. And that's why a lot of people, when they do that, if they do their own tallow or if they're getting it from like the market, I actually have a big chunk in my freezer right now that I got from Grandpa's Meat Market up in Medford, Wisconsin. Shout out there. But they'll actually put maybe some herbs, some spices in that tallow to flavor it up a little bit before they put it on whatever they're using, whatever they're cooking it with. So I think there's some other health benefits to it as well that I've been seeing and reading about, which might be a reason why more people are using it. It's probably a little bit healthier than maybe lard. I'm not sure. You'd have to go do some research there for yourself. But I have read that there are some certain health benefits to it. But I'm just not brushed up too much on that. So overall, what are my thoughts? I think it obviously, if it's coming from the cow already and you're using it on a brisket, hey, why not? But it's to each preference. I really haven't tried it on a brisket yet. I'd probably just use it more for general cooking. But if you want to try it out, hey, try it out. Let us know what you think. I think that would be awesome. But hopefully that answers your question, Jose. So thank you for that. And then let's see here. Okay, Chad, top fan here on our Facebook page. Let's see. How about a segment grill smoker modifications or do-it-yourself tools or cooking utensils? I'm not quite sure what the question is, but let's see. Any modifications that I have for my grill or my smoker? I really don't have many modifications. So I have a few Weber grills, and they're the 22-inch kettle grills. I don't really have much modifications. I do like some accessories that I really like to use are the charcoal baskets that I can use to, do offset smoking. I think those are kind of a must-have, and it's probably one of the better purchases I've made to help with that. And then smoker modifications. The only modification I made for my char griller, my barrel smoker, is I took that top rack out. A char griller, the barrel smoker, I've also attached the offset, so you can buy it where it's just the barrel, but then you can buy the offset smoker separately, which I've done. But the barrel smoker, it comes with just your flat rack on the bottom, but then as you lift up the hood of the grill, it's got that little ledge on there. I've really never used it before, where you could maybe put like vegetables or something like that. So I actually took that out, and it actually helped. Like when you're doing like a turkey or something, you can't get it in there where it's got that upper rack there. So I took it out, and you can put larger pieces of meat in there. So that's what I've done for my smoker. That's like the only modification I've made is pulling that top rack out. And then cooking utensils or tools. I think the coolest do-it-yourself tool that I got was from one of my buddies from the Marine Corps, Steven Thompson, over at Heavy Barrel Designs. He does a lot of metalworking and woodworking. So when I started the business, he actually sent me what is essentially a golf club with the head cut off. So, think of like a putter, but then like the end of the putter not being there. So it's just like this rod. And he welded it on like a nail, so like a hook. So I've been using that as like my meat hook, so I can like get steaks and I can just flip them. So I got this cool half of a golf club with a nail at the end of it, which should essentially probably be a weapon. But I use it. You can use it to like hook your meat, like one of those meat hooks, and then flip it over. So it was pretty cool. It was a good gift. It was an awesome gift that he sent me when I started the business. And one I actually use quite a bit, especially when I'm doing steak. I just grab that handle and smack that nail down on that steak and flip it over. It's real nice. So thanks, Steve. Steven, if you're listening, thanks for getting that gift for me. I appreciate that. And then cooking utensils, any do-it-yourself cooking utensils that I have. I don't. I'm pretty basic. I got the tongs, the clackers. I've got a nice metal spatula. You can never have too many of those. I got some forks, some big long forks. But other than that, I think that's I'm pretty basic when it comes to that kind of stuff. But if you all have anything that's real cool, we'd love to see it. Go, share it with us there. But that'd be awesome. But other than that, I think that was all the questions that we had. But no, I think, so that was all the questions that we got from all of our pages there. But yeah, so we'll make this a quick hit. So hopefully that answers some of the questions that you might have as well. But we appreciate you all listening. Ben will be back this week, and we'll do a two-parter. So we'll finish up the ribs episode, and then we're going to go into, because we're coming up on St. Patrick's Day, we're going to go into some corned beef on the grill and the smoker. So we'll do a two-parter the next week, so you don't miss your flavor of getting Ben in here. But we wanted to get something out to you. Hopefully you found some value in this Q&A, and if you guys liked it, feel free to let us know, and maybe we'll do more of these. So we'll ask you for your questions on our social media pages, and then we'll try and answer them. But hopefully find some value. Again, we appreciate you all. If you're enjoying the podcast, please go like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Help us reach new people because our mission here is to help people cook delicious food. And if you're new or just looking to learn as well about grilling and barbecuing, we hope to help people do that. So again, we appreciate you all, and Ben will be back next week, but hopefully you're enjoying your time, and let's get the grills out. All right, cheers.